Hello and welcome to a little tutorial on how to make yarn from plastic. There's a lot of single-use plastic around and a lot of it goes in the bin, and I have tried to use the t-shirt yarn making method to cut up plastic bags in the same way and make plastic yarn and reuse the plastic in that way to create new items like this basket in the background here, which is a basket that I crocheted entirely from single-use plastic, and it's now sturdy and beautiful and useful. And so today I'm going to show you how to make this plastic yarn. You can make it from anything. There's these postage bags that come in the post. There's these, see-through wrappers that come in almost any order, whether it's a new kettle or a pair of shoes. Almost anything is wrapped in the see-through kind of plastic. And this is a really good one because it works easily. It's thin enough to not be too much of a bother when you're trying to work it either in crochet or knitting or weaving, I suppose. I'm going to show you on this bag today because it is very big and has contrasting colors. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So the first step that we need to do is when you have your bag, it needs to have a neat opening on one side and the other side is usually closed because, yeah, it is a bag, but we need to cut this side open as well. So I'm going to get a pair of scissors and then we can cut. So you don't need to cut anything off, but you can just open it up. So that these two sides are open and these two sides are closed. So when I'm putting my arm in, it should come out the other side. Okay, that's perfect. Now you want to basically cut it into strips of any length of your desired project thickness that you want the yarn to be. I'm also aware that if I use different kinds of plastic, the thinner plastic needs to have thicker strips and slightly thicker plastic needs slightly thinner strips, just to balance out that it doesn't get too uneven in your end project. So you can mark out, say, 2-inch spots if you're not so keen with your, just to measure it with your eye. I'm going to just do it like it is, and I'm going to cut it in strips that go through the bottom spine and all the way up, but they stop about 1.5 inches under the top line. So don't cut all the way to the top. So we're going to do this now. We're going to cut it into strips. This one's quite good. It's got a line up here, so you can use that as your approximate stopping point. It also doesn't really matter if some are a little bit thicker and some are a little bit thinner. But as I say, you're welcome to measure it out. So now I've cut it all into pieces and I'm going to pick it up, and you can see that I have got a spine here with these little strips coming out the side. So what I want to do with this spine now is I want to put it on the ground, and I really recommend marking it out for the first time that you do it. So you want to get your spine laid out on the ground nicely. It doesn't really matter where the strips go for the time being, but you can see that here along the middle is what was the top of the bag, and it has now all these strips coming out the side. I'm gonna go and find a marker pen to mark our next step. Now here comes the point where it's important to follow the instructions, because otherwise your yarn won't end up being just one piece. So you go from this point here diagonally to your next cut. So approximately the height of the first cut over here, but right on the edge. So you go across. Then you jump one across and you jump one across and connect the next line. Then you jump along and cross it over to the next line. Then you jump along and you cross it over to the next cut. So you see that we always connect the diagonal next cut with a line, which is where we're going to cut in a minute, which is what makes the plastic bag unravel into one piece. So here's my pair of scissors, but instead of just cutting along the floor when you might catch what's underneath, I lift it onto my arm and I cut on top of my arm. So there comes the first one. Second one. Third one. You can let these ones go and just move your arm along. This one's quite thin here, so I'm going to just cut a little bit over there. Come on, here's the last bit of spine. You can see that's the last cut. And here we have one continuous piece of post bag yarn. Now, some people, oh, here we have a little, that's where it was taped together. You can still cut that apart. Sometimes you get an extra like thick layer where the flap was, and you can cut that out. You can see here, this is where the flap is. You can, I think I'm going to cut this out, otherwise it's going to be very thick. But now you can either just roll it into a ball, and the motion from that will twist it enough to make it into quite a nice workable piece of yarn, or you can spend some time actually twisting it so that it becomes more like a yarn-like structure. So, but I'm going to just wind it up now into a ball. And there we are. That's our plastic yarn postage bag, and we're ready to do a project with it now.